So lately on stream, I've been getting a lot of questions of, do I go Iaido slash, do I go Storm, or do I go Moonstrike? What's the play? All right, let's talk about it. Yo, what's going on, my fellow weebs? Corner here, and welcome back to the channel. So I've been getting a lot of questions about which spec should you go, what's good, what's bad, how do I play it, so on and so forth. And I wanted to go ahead and just go over my plans, what I'm doing, my thoughts on the current specs and their current stance, and what they'll be in the future. Keep in mind, the game has been out on CN servers for quite some time. I say quite some time, but it's been like a little over a couple of months at this point. So they've had experience with the game at a later point. So we have a lot of information about what classes turn into and kind of how they optimize out in the future. So we're using a bit of that information ahead of time to allow us to prepare properly for how certain specs are going to play and what's going to be good versus what's going to be bad. If you want the short version of what spec should I play, the answer I'm always going to give you is whatever spec you enjoy the most. I'm going to tell you how the specs currently work, because that could mess or decide your enjoyment of a spec, because everyone enjoys things differently, whether it be how something plays or how well it performs. Enjoyment is different for everyone, so I want to make sure that we kind of cover that aspect for everybody here. As far as like, if let's say you're going the meta chase route, you want to do the best you absolutely can do, and you plan to play specifically only Stormblade, well, then you play Iaido slash until level 60, and at level 60 you can start gathering gear for Moonspec, or I was called Moonspec, for Moonblade, or for Moonstrike, and switch over to Moonstrike once you get all of that gear at max level when you're getting your gold gear. Now, if you are a hyper meta chaser, you do this thing where you unlock a completely different class. You don't even play Stormblade, you actually play Wolfbow. You play Wolfpack spec bow, and you play that while gathering haste gear. You still would gather the gear you actually want to use, and then you would transition over to playing Moonstrike at max level. Now, what if you want to play Moonstrike now? How does that work out? How good are the specs? You know, how do they compare? In its current state, I feel like Iaido slash is just straight better than Moonstrike at the moment. Moonstrike is missing out on some of the tools it needs to be very powerful. So you really can't even play it using all the proper skills because of the way the talents currently work. So if you want to take a look at my talent build, this is the Iaido slash. This is what I'm currently running for Iaido slash really quick here, in case you're curious about how it works, what we're doing. And a lot of people talk about Flash Frenzy Blade. I don't find any use in this actual talent until we get talents like Flash Sharp Strike and Dual Blade Intent. The reason for them is Flash Frenzy Blade is really great when it's faster. It's also has the ability to refund sigils for us to power up our next Iaido slashes. It's just the animation for this is really, really slow. So you really don't want to press it usually unless you have 100 blade intent, and you get 100 blade intent when you crit whenever your Iaido slashes, and you have a chance to reset Flash Frenzy Blade when you crit an Iaido slash. So just keep that in mind. Like people talk about it being good. I'm told it's great. It just, in my experience, whenever I've tested it, whether it be in CBT, whether it be on full release, it just has not been great for me personally. So this is what I'm currently running at the moment, and it's been way better for me overall. We're taking things like Thunder Curse early. We're taking things like Violent Slash, of course, for Iaido crit. We're taking Instant Slash, which is very, very helpful for us. We have Zen Moment, of course. We have Thunder Sigil Affinity. All these being great. A lot of people talk about Wind Assault too, basically dispersing enemies below 15% HP. In any content that's mattered, this hasn't worked. So like in Stymian Vaults and all those things, like this just has not worked at all. So I've opted not to take it yet, and I will eventually have to take it because they're important talents that are down here anyway. So it doesn't matter realistically. You're going to come back and get this talent eventually anyway. I just don't have it prioritized. Same with, again, along this side, I want to get Wind Assault 1 because Wind Assault 1 is very good, giving you extra crit rate. But of course, I'm going to come through Flash Frenzy Blade. So eventually we're going to have this regardless of whether or not we're going to use it, right? I'm showing off all the Iaido slash stuff, so that way when I show you guys the Moonstrike stuff, you'll understand kind of the comparison of the two, right? So skills wise, what we're using for Iaido slash is we are using Overdrive. We're actually using Raijin Dash. We're not even touching Flash Strike yet. I'm just leaving it as is. Using Raijin Dash for an iframe. We're using Volt Surge as our burst, and then we're actually using Scythe Wheel for some extra just tick damage against the target that we can just set and forget and leave it alone. We don't need to worry about anything else. If you're not a big fan of that, you can always take True Sight. True Sight's a very powerful defensive tool, which will allow you to essentially nullify the damage of an attack that's coming at you as long as it's not a one-shot mechanic, and then go back to your target with max Thunder Sigils, which is pretty freaking cool. Here's how it looks. This is more or less kind of the idea of how the spec works. It's, again, we're only level 42, so we're missing some stuff here, but essentially what we're going to do is put our Scythe Wheel down. We're going to dash cancel it because you don't need to do the entire animation of Scythe Wheel. You just start it, dash cancel it, and the scythe stays out. Pop our buff, and then we're going to go immediately into pressing our very first overdrive into our Eye Slash. You also can hold down your basic attack button. I recommend doing so. It'll just continue to cast it for you, as there will be moments where you may run out of overdrive and need to proc an you may run out of, I'm sorry, it is overdrive, right? I'm not crazy here. Yeah, overdrive. You may run out of overdrive, need to proc an overdrive to be able to go ahead and continue to deal damage in the opener. So something that does happen. It's not a big deal. But essentially what it kind of looks like is you'll do this, press this, pop your buff, and then just go into your Eye Slashes over and over again. We're not really worried about anything else. Kind of want to pray for crits. That way we can have Zen moments. So we have very quick Eye Slashes to get more of them. We'll use our ult at the very end to go ahead and get our stacks. Press the Eye Slashes again, and then you're just looking for procs. When you get one, you want to go ahead and use it. I know it's only 3 stacks, but you do want to probably be pressing the Eye Slash at least once every 5 seconds to keep your debuffs up and to be able to actually deal damage to your target. We're going to go ahead and dash cancel that again. Getting really unlucky with these. As you can see, there are moments where you just get completely unlucky. I actually recorded this earlier. It did way better. It's really annoying that happens. And then we have our buff coming up, so we can just go back into this. We actually are very, very low on stacks, which sucks. But sometimes this does happen. You can just opt to not try to keep, debuffs up and just go ahead and let your overdrive stack up. That does work as well. I found most of the time the damage is about the same anyway, so either way, not really the end of the world. Because if you're not Eye Slash, you're not really dealing damage in the spec, unfortunately. So that's mostly what it looks like. That's pretty much all you're going to do. It's pretty straightforward, fairly simple. You're just pressing Eye Slash as much as you possibly can while using your buff every time it comes up. Of course, your battle magic, you want to go ahead and mix those in there as well, depending upon what magic you actually have. I would prioritize Boar if you don't have anything else, just because it is a pretty solid stat stick. It also doesn't transform you, so you don't have to worry about the annoying transform animations. All right, and if I was going to play Moonstrike right now, this is what the talent tree would actually look like. Shout out to Variation and our guild over in Discord. We posted an actual entire link for his talent tree that he's running when playing Moonstrike. It does really good damage, but he also has really well rolled gear and really good imagines. So it is kind of carrying it a little bit, but this is what I would run as far as skills go. So I'm gonna show the skills off here. I'm gonna show off what the ideal Moon spec blade or Moonstrike spec is actually using. And then I'm gonna show you exactly like why it just kind of doesn't work right now. So if you were playing ideal Moonstrike, what you'd be taking is you would grab Storm Flash, you would grab Scythe Wheel, you would take Thundercut, and you would take Volt Surge. You'd be popping both of your buffs. You would pop your Scythe Wheel and of course dash cancel it. You'd be Thundercutting as much as possible along with Moonstriking. Now, what you're gonna find is that you're actually not gonna have any Thunder Sigils to Moonstrike with because of the way the spec currently works at the moment. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the buttons we need to pop, and then we're gonna go from there. So we're gonna go ahead and do this, pop these here. Just going to burn our intent as much as possible. Everything is looking fantastic right now. Everything is great. Everything is completely perfect. We can go ahead and just press our buttons. Everything's fantastic. Oh, hold on. All right, we can pop our ult, which will allow us to press this again. And this is fine. And now you see we run into a situation where we have absolutely no sigils and we have absolutely no blade intent. And there's nothing that's going to give us more blade intent, unfortunately, because of the way the spec currently works. Normally you'd have things that would, in certain ticks or certain procs would be giving you some sigils to go ahead and give you blade intent. But as it stands right now, until this moment, you have essentially no blade intent whatsoever. And you have to deal with that. And it just doesn't play very well because of this. You're missing out on, a ton of damage because you just have no procs. And there's nothing you can really do about that. Like, I like this spec. It's actually a lot of fun once you're able to play it. It looks really cool. It's very fast. I'm a big fan of speed in my specs. But as you can see, like, you're just holding left click really, and nothing is really happening. You're just waiting to get something to be able to use your actual Thundercuts on. So yeah, it's pretty bad, unfortunately. I hate to say it. I don't like being that person's like, hey, your spec doesn't work. You can't really play it right now. But the reality is that it really doesn't work all that well. Now, there is a way to make it work. You can kind of force the situation. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like right now. So if you really, really, really want to play Moonstrike, like you're a big fan of sides, and that's just kind of what you want to rock, and you don't care about the damage, basically what you want to do is you're actually going to drop your Volt Surge for now. And put that in its place. And what you're going to take is Overdrive. You're going to use Overdrive procs to feed you into your Moonstrikes to be able to go ahead and get some extra blade intent eventually. And then everything is going to kind of work exactly the same way. So you're going to press your buff. You're going to make sure your scythe is out. Of course, do the scythe first, your scythe wheel. Press your buff, and then, of course, press all the buttons that you have access to. So we'll just go ahead and do that. I pressed the wrong button, but we'll go ahead and do this. First, we're going to burn all of our intent first. You don't want to have really any. When we press this button, of course, we have blade intent now, so we'll go ahead and keep burning as much of it as we can. We're down to nothing. We'll go ahead and pop our buff, which will allow us to use this, which will give us a little bit of blade intent. Now we're just going to left click until we see an overdrive proc, and then it's going to give us, of course, the ability to go ahead and press Moon. You can press an overdrive here as well to go ahead and do this too. And of course, don't forget to put down your scythe wheels. So this works better, and you're able to actually more or less play your spec. You actually don't want to press overdrive like that, to be honest. Let's do this first, do this, and then of course, spam this down as quickly as we can. And this is mostly what you're doing. Just pressing your overdrives when you can. And it's not too bad because realistically, to be honest, like Moonstrike does have an increased damage on the normal attacks. So you are speccing into normals on Moonstrike. And with all the hits, you're trying to proc lucky hits anyway. So it does work, right? Like you're able to play it. It's just kind of scuffed at the moment, which does feel bad for some people. And I totally understand. So would I recommend playing it in the current state? I mean, if you have fun with it this way, then yeah, I would say go for it. The damage definitely isn't there at the moment. Like, you are going to find yourself doing less damage than someone who's playing the same spec as you. But if that doesn't really matter to you all that much, then like, dude, just go for it. It is totally fine. You will still deal enough damage to get through most content. Like, things aren't going to be too hard. In worst case scenario, like, maybe you take an extra day to do a dungeon that wouldn't normally take the case for one of your other, like, one of the other specs in general. Not the end of the world. And by the time it does matter, to be honest, you'll be able to absolutely play the spec and absolutely crush it, right? And I will be playing the spec when I hit 60. I'm going to be playing the Moonstrike spec 100% for sure. Not only because it's the strongest spec that's available for them at Endgame, but also with speed, and I really like going fast. Like, I'm a really big purveyor of fast attacks and things of that sort. So in Endgame, after figuring out how the spec actually worked, I kind of wish I played it in CBT more. Now, granted, it did get buffed a whole lot, so it's way stronger now. It was pretty bad previously, but I would have probably still played it, to be perfectly honest. It's really, really cool. Not even just because of the whole scythe thing, like scythes are awesome, but like just in general, how fast you attack when you actually get to endgame, it's super, super sick. I'll try to leave a link to some of the guide information because Maxwell's actually pretty solid. We'll have the guide info that's available. Just as a clarification, I'm not the one who personally tested all of this stuff, like everything of the exact stuff to run. In case you're curious, there are guides on Maxwell. Those guides are really, really good. They are made in conjunction with players that have played the game for quite some time now at a very, very high level. I also do have some stuff linked in my Discord, so if you want to go ahead and jump into that, there is a link in the video description into the Discord and the BPSR channel. There's an entire list of some stuff that people have typed up from our guild that have been able to bring that information over to us, or they're pulled from other Discords. That's really, really useful, including video links and all that good stuff too. So in case you're curious what it looks like at Endgame, you can find those links there. But that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. Should you play Moonstrike? Absolutely, if you really want to. There is a way to make it work. It's just going to be kind of scuffed for the moment being, and you are going to fall behind. If you are like absolute hardcore meta chaser, to be honest, you play Wolfbow until you hit level 60 and then play Moonstrike. If you don't really care, you just want to play Stormblade, you play Iaido until you hit 60 to play Moonstrike. And if you really, really just don't care and you just want to play Moonstrike, this is how you play Moonstrike. That's pretty much it. Hopefully I helped out someone around there. If there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe when you keep up with more. As always, thank you to the channel members. You guys are fantastic. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my friends. Peace out.